Hey, what's up guys? Next up is my Frost DK definitive PvP guide, and I will go over all the burning questions you've probably had throughout the season. So let's dive right into it. First of all, talents. I still got my silly class fantasy names. We've got Endless Winter and Chillbreaker. Chillbreaker is two-handed focused, but could be played with dual wield, though I wouldn't recommend it, and Endless Winter is dual wield focused. So you've got a dual wield build and a two-handed build. Let's start with the two-handed build first. If you have not watched my PvP starter guide, feel free, but effectively what it says is all of this first stuff is pretty much locked in. You are locking in this entire top half because it is your core abilities, this middle half because all the pillar package is amazing, this left side because it's a blit damage. Blit damage is a huge portion of your damage. Frostworm's Fury because of Rider of the Apocalypse requires Frostworm's Fury to call all 4 horsemen, which do a ton of things. So you want to do this as much as possible, and if you want to do it as much as possible, what do? You reduce its cooldown by half with absolute 0. So that locks in all of this stuff, right? Absolute 0, of course, being locked in as well every time you're playing Rider, and we will talk about Deathbringer soon, which is also good, so don't worry. Then you're going down the left side always, which is your big burst option during Pillar. This is what generates all those killing machines, and that's what makes Obliterate actually do damage. And Arctic Assault, giving you Glacial Advance, which gives you Razor Ice generation and an extra chunk of damage from Glacial Assault. So with all of that locked in, there's just this kind of area to choose from. And Two-Handed Frost, what we do is we go down to Hyperpyrexia and Shattering Blade. Shattering Blade was nerfed, was bugged, so it was accidentally nerfed by Blizzard, where it did not actually get the effect of Razor Ice when it was consuming the stacks, which made it way, way worse because it was consuming the Razor Ice stacks without actually using Razor Ice to buff the Frost Strike damage that was consuming it in the first place, right? So that was fixed, which is nice. That's just 18% more multiplicative damage to every Frost Strike you press for Shattering Blade, which does, when you pair that with Hyperpyrexia, a ton of mastery, and a two-handed build, what you have there is actually a huge burst option for two-handed Frost. When you combine that with Obliterate doing extra damage, Howling Blast doing extra damage from Icebreaker, and now Frost Strike doing extra damage, you have 3 high impact abilities, which feels really, really good. So that's why I run this for Two-Handed Frost. Again, Obliterate package, Frost Strike package, and then Howling Blast package, which you already have the Howling Blast modifiers up here. So that's effectively the whole build. I know it was pretty simple, but at least you don't have to hear me blabble on too much. The build is entirely focused around just huge chunky hits during every pillar. Sounds like Frost to me. If you want to run Rider with this, which I actually still recommend. I think Rider is just so good for so many different brackets. In Solo Shuffle, it still gives you mobility. In BG Blitz, it gives you mobility, which is absolutely required. And it just gives you this monstrous go during every Frostworm's Fury, which is when you're going to want to do the most damage anyway. And saves you a global because the Mograine summons the D&D, which gives you all the D&D mods, 5% strength, 5% haste, and the D&D cleave, which you need for Obliterate cleave. So having an extra global makes your goes way more impactful because you get those Obliterates off more effortlessly. So I really feel Rider is great. Of course, we're using Pact of the Apocalypse for damage reduct, which gives you more staying power as Frost. You've got your Death Charger for mobility, and you've got Feast of Souls. Of course, you're going to run this now because it gives you extra runic power spending abilities, which we have the Frost Strike package, Shattering Blade, and Hyperpyrexia. So Feast of Souls adds on top of that, and you just have all of these Frost Strike mods. It makes them hit extremely hard. So yeah, you got the Frost Strike package, a Blit package, Howling Blast package. Can't say it enough. Just a really good two-handed build. I know a lot of people still prefer two-handed, and don't worry, the upfront damage of this is nuclear, especially if you're like hitting orbs on temple. Oh my gosh, or a flag carrier. Don't get me started on hitting a flag carrier with this build. Running Delirium with this build on against Mistweaver monks, so they don't have as many rolls, and you're just gonna love this. So try this one out. Now let's swap over to dual wield for all my dual wield friends. Will not take very long to go through, I promise. So now we're swapping off of the Runic Power Talents, which means we're also swapping out off of Feast of Souls and going over to Fury of the Horsemen. The longer you can have these out, the better, because it gives you more access to all of their special abilities, and their special abilities crank. Just look at your damage meter and tell me how much Undeath, Trollbane's Icy Fury does. Those things are like a huge portion of your damage. Furthermore, we're going into the dual wield centric talents, Smothering Offense, auto attack damage, and Icy Talons stack rate. It gives you more auto attack speed, which gives you more KM procs outside of pillar. Icy Death Torrent, more auto attack speed means more Icy Death Torrent damage, and then Long Winter, more auto attack speed means more auto attack crit for longer duration pillars. So all three of these things come in tandem, and you're also getting a second Rune Forge from dual wield, and what this gives you is, say it with me, sustained damage, right? Okay, so the other one was chunky, bursty hits, and this one is more sustained, more fluidity, more survivability, because you get that Stone Skin Gargoyle, Rune Forge, and your survivability is much higher. So, dual wield sustain, two-handed burst. Answers all the question of which one do you run? Right now, I'm running two-hander, but there's a reason. It's because I got a free two-hander from the quest. And of course, I play Unholy too. If you've watched this channel at all, you know that I make Unholy guides as well, right? And Unholy can't run dual wield. So I had to choose the one that allowed me to play both. Now, I really did like the addition of that Frost Strike buff that they did by fixing the bug. And that made a lot of fun, crazy Frost Strike hits on FCs that I've really enjoyed. So I got a lot of fun out of it, but I'll still play dual wield once I get the full setup, which means buying 2 dual wield conquest weapons and getting my 4 set, because you don't use that for Unholy either, right? So we'll get to that in the gearing section, but I just wanted to make that clear if you're, confused on which one I'm running. I think they're both extremely good. And here is the dual wield talents for Endless Winter, Long Winter talent, Endless Winter, there you go. All right. Now the left side of the tree. Going to be exactly the same as my Unholy one, but you might not have watched that video. For Frost, I always run Abomination Limb in BG Blitz because you want to herd people together as a peeler, as Frost, because AoE stuns are some of your most potent parts of your toolkit. What do you bring over Unholy? Well, you bring AoE stuns. Unholy doesn't have any AoE stuns, right? But you have 2 of them, Dead of Winter and Frostworm's Fury. So if you can limb people in, there's more people to limb in BG Blitz than there is in Solo Shuffle. And generally you can get them on choke points or like in Tunnel on Warsong or going up the stairs on Twin Peaks, right? If you can get them in a choke point, limb them all together in AoE stun, you might have just taken 5 people out of the game. And if you can do that, you might have just saved the game. So A-Bomb Limb is an auto pick for me in BG Blitz. As far as Arena, I still actually really enjoy it because hurting people around a pillar and then blind AoE stunning them is just a really nice way to get a go that you might not have gotten if they had a mobility option for your grip. Furthermore, Death's Reach. This is a great tool for both BG Blitz and just arenas in general, since Frost relies on the go so much. You kind of need the extra range for those pesky healers that are standing at a pillar, right? They're just trying to be like, no, I can't give them the go. I can't give them the go. Well, if you have a 40-yard range grip, if he ever even peaks for a second, yoink, you're pulling him in, right? So Death's Reach is a really huge grab, which means you have to give up things like Blood Draw. Of course, the Leech talent, March of Darkness even. But I think our mobility with the Speed Gem and with Death Charger is plenty good. Shouldn't have to worry about that too much. And unfortunately, you do have to go through a nearly useless talent to get their Sacrificial Pact, because you can see nothing else links up to it. But Death's Reach is just so high value for BG Blitz, and for Arena, setting up those Frost goes, it is just an auto pick for me. The rest of the talents are locked in for all DK. Unholy, Frost, Blood, honestly. You got your AoE Blind, huge CC, you've got Mind Freeze, you've got Double Chains, you've got short AMS, you've got Big Stem, you've got Big Death Strikes, you've got Big Zone for your teammates, you've got Asphyxiate that can turn into Straying, which you will do a lot of the time as Frost, especially in arenas, because you already have 2 AoE stuns. Wraithwalk for mobility, you've got this entire line that gives you survivability and extra strength, you've got this for survivability, you've got that for survivability, you've got Subduing for survivability, and you've got Death's Echo for double grip, double DA. Of course you need this. This is absolutely non-negotiable, Death's Echo every single time. And there's the left side of the tree. This is true for both two-handed and dual wield. They both need goes. They both need all of those other things I talked about, so don't worry about that. This is locked in. Okay, so now we have Dead of Winter. This is your second AoE stun, and I talked about it so many times that you now know this is an auto pick. We have a second AoE stun for 4 seconds on a short cooldown, and we are going to choose it because that is a massive peel tool and a massive going tool. Then Delirium. This is a huge BG Blitz talent. This is the other thing that Frost brings that Unholy doesn't have, with Mistweaver Monks and all of these other high mobility classes, mages, demon hunters, trying to get from point A to point B. You have grip and chains, 40-yard grip and chains. But Then you also have delirium. It also makes it so their movement effects, blink, roll, have a much higher cooldown, which means not only can they not get away with you, if they can finally kill you or get away from like peels or CC on you, but you have such a huge anti-CC toolkit, that's hard to do too. They still can't, because now their blink is on a 40-second cooldown instead of 20. They're just like so shocked. They're like, this is insane. I just cannot get away from this Death Knight. And in BG Blitz, you know it is a huge deal to keep people from getting where they need to get to. So Delirium, fantastic BG Blitz tool, but also really good against mages in general, in solo shuffle, DHs in general, and monks in general. So definitely can use that. But like I said, Streng, pretty much auto pick for me in Arena because you have 2 AoE stuns already. So why do you need a third single target stun when you have AoE stun, silence? That's what you want, right? Because now you can stun into silence, and that is how you get kills, right? You grip everybody in, you blind them, you AoE stun them, then you silence out. It's off the DR, right? You don't need asphyxiate. There. Okay, so Streng, very, very good tool. You saw I was running Bitter Chill because sometimes in BG Blitz, the Streng is not quite as impactful as finishing off a healer go, though I still really like Streng, but Bitter Chill is just a really cool way to disrupt even further everybody on their team. If there's a lot of casters, they really need that haste to get casts off. You're locking them down, you're peeling them, and now you're reducing their haste, so they can't even get casts off. They are just struggling to deal with the obnoxiousness that is Frost DK and peeling situations. So other than that, there's just not really a lot of good options here. Death Chill is completely worthless. Shroud of Winter seems like it could be good, but it's just not going to do as much. Rotten Wither, completely worthless. Spell Warden, you don't really care about. You kind of need your AMS for yourself in those situations. And Dark Sim is a niche pick. If you're really good at simming clones and shit, it could be very great for you. Okay, and that's everything. And we're going to talk about gear. Gear is interesting because the Two-Handed Frost uses exactly the same stat weights as Unholy, which is Haste, Mastery, Versed, and every combination of them, where you can just craft down your verse by crafting rings, Haste Mastery ring, Haste Mastery belt, and then if you want to get about 23% verse, you can make one of the rings verse haste or verse mastery. And if you want like no verse and as much output stats as possible, like me, you can just craft them both to haste and mastery. And now I have about 17% verse in PvP, but my haste and mastery are through the roof. Again, if you get the verse mastery ring, then you will have about 23 to 24% verse, which is good. Then for Two-Handed Frost, you're going all haste mastery. So haste mastery, verse, haste mastery, verse, a haste mastery, you got haste mastery, then haste verse, then here's more verse, more verse, more verse, more verse, more verse, right? You can get the picture. The only thing you're avoiding entirely is crit, because Two-Handed doesn't need the crit. You're already critting during pillar all the time with obliteration, and you're not trying to get the extra long pillars because you're running, those talents go away and they're swapped to these talents, so you no longer need the crit for Long Winter, right? As a result, you could probably still get 4 set, but it's not quite as important. You could actually just probably stay 2 set, but you could still get crit Frost Strikes, which they're nerfed by 50% in PvP, but then that plus an extra 5% strength, it's probably really, really close, but you're going to have to get 4 set for dual wield Frost, so you need to have it available if you want to try out dual wield, and I do think the power level is really good. So let's talk about dual wield. What you need to play dual wield is enough crit to get that endless winter value. The crit comes from the weapons. This needs a visual aid. I know this needs a visual aid, so I'm going to take a moment from staring at the training dummies, go right over to the Conquest vendor and show you what I mean, because I don't quite have them yet. Here they are. One-handed strength weapons with crit. This is what you will put on the Forged Gladiator's Axe. If you get 2 of these, there's some of the crit you need on your dual wield weapons for your dual wield build. Then you are adding 2 pieces of 4 set gear. Shoulders, chest. You're like, wait, those are the ones with the bad stats, right? Because main stat crit? Oh, right. You need crit. So you're getting the bad stat tier set to give you the crit you need to play dual wield. And then with those axes, this chest and this shoulders, you've got all the crit you need, and everything else can stay the same as your unholy or two-handed frost build. So what do you need to add to play dual wield frost? Tier shoulders, tier chest, weapon. Nothing else needs to change. You don't have to change this or 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 this. You could keep it all the same. You could play unholy and two-handed frost whenever you want, and then whenever you wanted to play dual wield, you'd swap on these shoulders and this chest and the axes. The reason I was a little hung up on tier set for two-handed is because it's different than the other two. Unholy only uses 2 set, and dual wield wants the shoulders and the chest, but I think, yeah, so you'd have to play gloves with two-handed 4 set because you don't need crit as much, so you don't need the main stack crit. You'd instead get the off stack crit with mastery. So it's a little complicated, I know. Effectively, what you would need to do is dual wield 4 set is shoulders and chest, and two-handed 4 set is shoulders and gloves. If that doesn't make sense, watch that part 1,000 times. Look, this is on YouTube. It doesn't go anywhere. You can just go backwards and be like, wait, what the heck did he just say? Because that's true. It's just a little complicated, and I understand that. And that's all of your gearing. The embellishment I chose was the proc damage one, though you could absolutely get the verse one because you're kind of all-inning. You're not really worrying about proc damage until you play your dual wield build, and then you really do want the sustained damage. And that's what I'm gearing for. I'm gearing for Unholy first and then dual wield second, but it's going to take me a while to fill out all these pieces. I still have a little bit of weeks of Conquest to grind out. I could also just get the Bloody Tokens dual wield pieces until then, but I'm not in any rush. I'll play it by the end of the season. I've been having a lot of fun playing these two-handed variants as well, so you get to play everything. Right, and then the final bit is the rune forges. I had to make this its own period too, because this is also a little confusing. Okay, so let's get into it. Unholy, I'm running Rune of the Fallen Crusader. If I were to play two-handed Frost with my new Shattering build, I unfortunately have to switch this to Razor Ice, because you want that Shattering strikes over and over and over. The burst is crazy. So you'd have to be near the Death Gate, because you can't, or you can have two-handed weapons late in the season. You can have one with Fallen Crusader, one with Razor Ice, and you can swap them. Then dual wield actually doesn't use Razor Ice at all. So you've got two-handed using Razor Ice, but then dual wield using Fallen Crusader and Stone Skin Gargoyle, because you actually don't use Shattering, because you don't have like extra talent points to spare for no reason. You see, I have like all of these talents. Now I don't have to go into these talents because these are actually insanely good for dual wield, which means with no talent points to spare, you don't even need to go into Shattering Blade. And then you can just run double Rune Forge, Rune of the Fallen Crusader, Rune of the Stone Skin Gargoyle, all super juiced up by Unholy Bond, and you'd have Razor Ice from Arctic Assault, Glacial Advance applies Razor Ice, and Avalanche applies Razor Ice. So you have 3 Rune Forges, perma. This is the Endless Winter build. This is crazy sustain. You're going to have your crit from the 4 set and from your dual wield weapons. You're going to have sustain from all of the build options, as well as the focusing lens. You're just going to have perma damage all the time. By the end of the season, this will be thoroughly tested by me on my stream. So if you want more information on all that, feel free to come. Okay, so here's what we must do. We must now talk about the role of Frosty K in Arena for a brief moment, show off the rotation. If you want to know about the role in BG Blitz, I actually made a specific Frosty K BG Blitz guide already. So go to that on my channel. So I'm not going to go all in about all of that anymore, but instead I'm going to show you the process here. This is what I mean, right? If you're brand new, you might not know this, but of course we would actually have to switch but I want to show you guys the Frost Strike, because it's so fun. Get those huge big bursts off, right? So there's the Razor Ice now on my two-handed weapon. Now we can hearth back to Dornigal and go to the dummies. Again, your role in arenas is to grip, healer, grip, other DPS, blind all 3 of them together, Frostworms for the AoE stun, Remorseless set up first, then Frostworms for the AoE stun, and then the Remorseless AoE stun will come out half after that, so that's another 2 seconds of stun, and then cleave everybody to death. What you are doing is doing stun silence goes, silence on the healer, of course, with all 3 people piled in, cleaving as much as possible. What this does is both gives your partner a chance to do crazy cleave damage with you, but also effectively peels for your team. Because if they're all AoE stunned into silence, they're not really counter pressuring you in any way. So you have this go that enables your partner to do burst with you, but also prevents the enemy team from killing your guys. Now in the beginning, yeah, that's great. You get the first go. But toward the end of it, you're like, okay, I got to be able to get this go off because we might die here. So you'll just have to really quickly grip, blind, AoE stun, and then you're like, wait, we're fine. Right? So, of course, here's how it looks. You would, let's say we gripped PvP training dummy is the healer, PvP training dummy is the other DPS, and you gripped them both to Shadow Priest on the ground. And now you're going to blind all 3. Then you're going to Remorseless Winter Stun. Or start the build up for that. Then absolute 0 stun from Frostworm's Fury, Pillar and Power, Rhyme Proc Obliterate, Frost Strike Obliterate, Rhyme Proc Obliterate, Frost Strike Obliterate, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so let's take a look here. We got Remorseless Winter, Pillar, absolute 0, Howling Blast, Obliterate, Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast, Obliterate, Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast. You can see that 2.6 million DPS, Frost Strike, Howling Blast, and it runs out of Pillar, and that's what the burst looks like. It's extremely alternating back and forth. That's really all it is. It is actually that simple as long as you get Remorse, Absolute 0, Pillar and Power, and then get that first Killing Machine proc with that Howling Blast for free. You get from Rhyme proc from the talent Biting Cold. First time Remorseless Winter deals damage to 3 different enemies. You gain Rhyme, so you're always going to have that Rhyme proc to generate the first Obliterate. Now you can see damage was absolutely there. It's pretty nuclear. Frost Strike is at 6%. It will be much higher than this actually in PvP. PvP has Frost Strike having a lot of plus PvP mods, unlike the rest of our toolkit, right? So Frost Strike actually does more damage in PvP than it does in PvE, as long as we are, getting those big Shattering Blade 5 stacks off. This will actually crank it, hit 800k non-crit, and that's without the PvP mod. You can see the tooltip will go up. Look at this. It's up to 372k, and when that's off, it'll be much, much lower. The tooltip will go up, but it doesn't actually change the amount of damage you do to the PvP training dummies. For that to happen, for those PvP modifiers to take effect, you actually have to be in a rated PvP game. So in an arena, in a solo shuffle, in a battleground blitz, that is when that extra Frost Strike damage will come up. So yeah, look at that. All the way down to 132. I don't make this stuff up, right? So some of that is from the extra stats you get from hitting the PvP training dummy, but it's not 260k worth. The rest of that is the plus PvP mod. So an 800k non-crit could be more like a 1.1 million non-crit. And then if that crits, now we're at what? 1.6 million? And then add on some orb buffs or some FC damage taken buffs, and all of a sudden you're hitting 3 million Frost Strikes, and it is super duper fun. Zerging buff also in BG Blitz. There's so many different ways for you to just randomly hit a 2 million Obliterate into a 4 million Frost Strike or something crazy, as long as you have the shattering effect. So or maybe 3 million Obliterate into 3 million Frost Strike, something like that, with all those mods. So super fun. Finally, I wanted to go over this at the end, not during the talent section, because it kind of deserves its own thing. Deathbringer. Deathbringer is not super high value for BG Blitz because you just would prefer to have the mobility and the extra utility from all of your riders. They can also spin bases and all these other things, but it's getting a rework in the anniversary patch. And the anniversary patch rework, plus the fact that it's just insanely bursting, means you can absolutely run this. I like it with dual wield actually better because dual wield stacks up the Reaper's Mark stacks faster because of the extra hits and the extra crits that you're getting from Bind and Darkness. It's 4 stacks when it's a critical strike. You have more crit on dual wield than you have on two-handed, blah, blah, blah. So what I want to say is you can run Deathbringer with the dual wield build. I don't really need to talk about it. It's just Deathbringer. It has huge damage. You press Exterminate during, or Reaper's Mark rather, and get Exterminate during your Pillar Go. And every Pillar Go, you press Reaper's Mark. Why? Because they're both 45-second cooldowns. So you're going to press it every single time. There's nothing more to do. You just press it and then do your rotation just as I did it there. And then you're going to have the huge Reaper's Mark Exterminate hit. Boom, Scythe number 1. Boom, Scythe number 2. This is getting a rework, though. So I want to make another short video when that patch comes out about Deathbringer itself. Like, it's just going to be a Deathbringer focused video, because I think after that rework, its burst is going to be unparalleled. And as a result, we will probably start running it even in BG Blitz, but certainly in Arena, where you have these crazier nuclear goes that are only benefited from Deathbringer having a perfect one-to-one cooldown synergy with Pillar. And then in BG Blitz, it's like, well, if you can cleave all those people to death, doesn't really matter if you don't have the mobility, because when you get to them, they're donezo. So I want to make this its own video, but just know that if you want to play it with the dual wield build, the Endless Winter build, and just click it. You don't have to do anything else. Do you have to change your other build? No. Do you have to change the way you play? No. You just have to add one extra global to Pillar. That's it. So there's Deathbringer, and that's the whole video. Hope this helped in any way. I am going to continue pushing Frosty K. It looks like some people passed me. I was number 2. Well, actually, I was number 1 for a while. And it looks like some people passed me. So I'll be queuing it up this weekend on stream if you want to see the push for number 1 again. I will see you guys real soon.